Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks, where we meet with the top thought leaders and strategists in emerging technologies, digital assets, the regulatory landscape, and capital markets. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, and joining me on the desk at the Nasdaq market site, we have Tal Cohen, president of Nasdaq, leading Nasdaq's market services and financial technology divisions, as well as Asadej, president of the stock exchange of Thailand, known as SET. We're here to discuss opportunities in Thailand's capital markets and how Nasdaq supports its digital transformation. It is great to have the both of you with us. Welcome to Market Site. Asadej, tell us about the market conditions in the Southeast Asian region and in Thailand, some of the key challenges that you're facing and how you're navigating them.
Well, Southeast Asia as a whole, where Thailand is a part of, continues to be an exciting place for investments in this day and age. There's still a lot of growth going on in countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia. So we form a good packed 600 million people, citizens, and looking to grow aggressively. Thailand in particular, at least our capital market has been quite developed. We're 50 years old this year. And our economy relatively is in a slower growth mode compared to some other neighbors. But fundamentally, we're still strong. There's a lot of developments in tourism, in consumer goods, in healthcare. So there's pockets of very interesting investment opportunities in Thailand at the moment.
And Tal, when you consider the investments with the stock exchange of Thailand that you're making, how does this resonate with the challenges and opportunities that you're hearing from other market operators?
Yeah, thank you, Jill. And the challenges are quite consistent globally in terms of what market operators are asking themselves these days. And they cut across three dimensions, really. One is, how do we cultivate greater liquidity? The second is, how do we enhance the transparency of our markets? And the third is, how do we strengthen the integrity of our markets? And across those three dimensions, the key challenge for them is operational complexity. Markets are ever more complex, more volatile, more unpredictable. So ensuring the solutions that you bring into those markets, the way you modernize those markets, allows you to keep up with regulatory reform, but evolving customer needs. So those are challenges that I know SET is facing, we are facing here in the US, and our customers globally are talking to us about.
So Asadej, can you share some insights on how you're modernizing your markets and some of the key initiatives?
So one of the things, or at least our strategy going forward, is to make the capital market inclusive for everyone. So I guess the smaller people, allowing access to everyone, to investment opportunities, to capital wealth, to smaller companies raising capital to grow their business. So similar model to the Nasdaq, in fact. So we're looking to be an integral part of how we uplift the Thai economy as a whole. And technology obviously will play a massive role. So we're looking at AI in terms of how people access information easier, faster, so that they can make informed decisions. We're helping companies do their filings and so on, the process of IPOing or initial public offerings, reportings and everything. As Tal said, integrity, transparency is super important these days. And there's so much information out there. And how we use technology to enhance transparency and access to information is so important.
Well, it's necessary to stay competitive these days, that's for sure, Tal. As a strategic partner to SET, how has Nasdaq been supporting this transformation?
Yeah, first of all, it's a privilege and an honor to be the strategic partner of SET, and we take that commitment very seriously as their strategic partner. And so what we've been really impressed with is how forward-thinking SET has been about technology across the full trade life cycle. So we've had conversations around how Nasdaq surveillance can uplift the integrity of the market. We've talked about how a risk solution can also ensure the transparency and enable more liquidity in the market. And as a market operator ourselves, we're bringing our own experience to bear. And that's really, really important as you think about the market. And again, how do you think about capacity planning? How do you meet capital needs? Foreign capital is looking to come into Thailand. How do we support SET in their desire and their ambitions? So all of that allow us to be a really good partner. And I think when it comes to innovation, you just mentioned the digital assets, and we're thinking about AI, we're also bringing to bear our own experience, again, of how we put it into our own markets, what the challenges are, and how you do that safely and responsibly, and then democratize that for the whole market to enjoy those benefits.
Asadej, let's talk about the challenges in terms of managing the risk in the market. How are you handling this?
Well, interesting. Recently, a few weeks ago, we had an earthquake in Thailand. At least it was quite a big earthquake in Myanmar, but it affected Bangkok for the first time. And it was strange because it was first time in Bangkok where everyone got, I guess, panicked and left their buildings because it was all shaking for quite a long period. And we had to hold the market in the afternoon. I had to decide on the street to hold the market with the board of directors and so on. But the fact that we can depend on the technology in place for our markets to make decisions quickly, to effectively have the market function or not function in a systematic way is extremely important, and it helped us reopen the market in an effective manner, in an efficient manner. So these things we work with Nasdaq, and in the future we're looking at new products. Thailand is a less developed market maybe from the US, but we are learning from Nasdaq and others in terms of what other products we can introduce. Digital assets, inverse ETFs would be something new for us. Options is something we're like looking to build upon.
Yeah, that's certainly where our experience comes in, Tal. How is Nasdaq approaching the vision overall in terms of being the trusted fabric of the global financial system?
Yeah, we do that, Jill, through the markets that we operate, the 18 markets that we operate globally, and being the strategic partners of exchanges like SED. And you just mentioned something very, very important. When you are your strategic partner, we're trying to help them solve their biggest operational challenges across obviously risk, regulation, and the modernization journey, but also do it in a resilient manner, in a safe manner. You talked a little bit about resiliency. The way that we think about resiliency is incredibly important. Transparency is the lifeblood of the market, but resiliency is the backbone of that market. And so being able to share those experiences and work through that, in addition to providing innovative technology through the full trade life cycle, is how we can be the best partner.
All right, Asadej, Tal, appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from the Nasdaq Market Site. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.